this is a second CNC machine. This one's got a 5x12 bed, and there's a piece of paper sucked down on it by vacuum, and a pen that I control with this little solenoid. So using, you can hear it clicking off and on, raising and lowering the pen. There's just a little hole in this triangular shaped guide that is the right size, so when the pen drops it hits the paper. There's not too much slack, so I can draw accurately. And so I started producing these drawings, just like a drawing, one little line at a time. This is not really a conventional printmaking process. And in fact, it's kind of, most printmaking, I think, is oriented toward a kind of commercial process, speed, how to do it all at once, how to make something faster in a single pass. These drawings are built up layer by layer, just like a print. And so they take a long time, a lot of machine time and a lot of hours. And it's kind of anti-commercial. There's a slower way to produce a print, not a faster way. And until recently, I denied actually that these were prints. But I caved, since they are reproducible. I could spend another, couple of weeks and do another one and so on. And maybe, in a year or two, I could have an edition of 10. Another approach is kind of this is sort of Chuck Closian, I guess, a set of gestures I define, a diagonal, another diagonal, several sizes of square, several sizes of diamond, and then read an image file and chose the gestures, which I previously calculated using an Excel spreadsheet, to a certain ink density in order to make images. We'll see some of these later, but I wanted you to get a sense of the real-time production of line back in the machine. And so I was able to make prints about 20 by 30 inches. This is Anthony. These are the blocks carved on the machine. First blocks I carved for Anthony, and me exhausted after the machine did all that work. Here's a clearing example. At the bottom you can see a shape like an 8, and you have many options for clearing. You can clear in rasters, like the center two images at any angle you like, or you can clear in contours, which is the part that really fascinated me. At the bottom you can see this is actual code that runs the machine, moves it from the first line on the left, moves it 3.7 something inches in X and 2 something inches in Y to the next line, moves it a thousandth of an inch or something, so slowly the machine follows. I think this one is following that second example of vertical rasters clearing. So, but then thinking about developing kind of a chiaroscuro shading, kind of like reduction printing. If I draw lines, here I've kind of shrunk and rotated that 8, and I filled the inside one, and then the next to the inside one, and then the next to the inside one with straight lines in order to develop changes in values. Here's the same kind of an exercise with contour fill, and at the bottom a detail of a drawing showing how those contour lines naturally relate to the image being drawn, which I thought was kind of cool, sort of like old master engravings. Later, I was using that same kind of technique to do, this is a life-size drawing of a guy, watercolor underneath. In the center picture, it's been outlined with pencil, and I've just hand watercolored, colored it, and then drawn on top with pen. This is a lithograph about 30 by 43 or something, or 43 by 30, done 6 plates. The lines, again, they're lines. I wrote a program to convert my Shopbot code into DXF file, loaded it in Illustrator, and output the pre-pressed films for the plates. So all solid, no halftones, and printed in various ink densities in order to make this image. This is a detail of the finished print showing the typical squiggly contours. Kind of cool. So 3 transparencies of black and 3 transparencies of white. Renaissance chalk drawing is kind of what I was going for. I don't think I made it. But, so a bunch of prints. These are prints done with machine carved blocks. They were actually indistinguishable from hand carved blocks, since the paper really doesn't know what the hell carved the wood away, or doesn't know what took away the part that doesn't print. So the contours are mine. This one was a reduction print. So most of these are multi-block prints, but it built up a kind of cool contouring mountain range as more and more was cleared away. I sort of like that. These are about 20 by 30 inches, or what here you can see in the photo. About 10 by 15 inches, 20 inches wide. How does she look big? Not bad. This one was 30-some blocks. It's about 6-7 inches square. Gift prints I took with me to Kyoto. The blocks for the gift prints, I printed them and then cut them apart. They're like postcard size. Very good. A ketchup bottle with a watercolor brush glued into it, and a vent so that I was optimistic about the ink actually flowing through the thing. And oh, it did flow. Sometimes it flowed too much. This is about a 7-foot long sheet of paper, maybe 3 feet high. And sorry, she's sideways, but this is pushing the tip of the brush in and pulling it back out. Another approach, here's a small, I think the block of wood here is about 10 by 15 inches. An image of a cat and girls. But it's carved with a V-tipped router bit, pushing the router farther in to clear more wood away and pulling it out to leave a darker line. This is a true spiral, which I'm sort of fascinated by spirals anyway. And here's a finished print, somewhat photographic, old-fashioned technique. A dry point needle, a small ball end burnisher for copper plate, a copper plate, dry point needle for a couple of days at various angles to make a kind of a mezzotint graph. And then I went back in with a ball burnisher to smooth it back out, print pulled from that plate. This is about 16 inches high, something like that. Anything you can draw, you can cut on the machine. So this is plates for the press and cutting aluminum on my drawing machine. What a mess. But got the parts, built this press. This is a reduction print of trees here. Here's the print. It's 77 inches high. Another one that you saw in the first movie, hanging up in the studio. Another print, third print. This was from 17 blocks. So it's about half complete drawer. The gizmo that lifts the pen, you still can't really see it. The first big drawing, life-size pen and ink drawing. Yeah. Okay. Going quickly through. Can I go quickly through 2 minutes? I like this guy's face. Airbrush gizmo. Sorry to do it to you so fast. Or maybe not. Gesture painting. The gestures. Kind of nice, I can be planning one while I'm drawing another. This is a flow pad, kind of like an airbrush, but no air. Just this is acrylic paint in here flowing by gravity. Make marks. Marks look like that. Tears up the paper, makes a nice texture. Painting you saw earlier. Transparencies for the litho, the finished litho. Vacuum plan, press construction. Paint. Extruded through a needle. Current project is the edition of drawings with color.